Hey, Elisabeth Stitt here from Joyful Parenting Coaching. Welcome to the first of our Wednesday lunch and learns for the summer of 2026. I decided that it's summer. We don't have time for a formal webinar and for more learning, but there are topics that come up in summer that maybe feel a little bit more relevant that I thought you might like a few tips on. So that's what the Lunch and Learns are for. And today's topic is a screen light summer without constant nagging. And before I dive into the topic, I'm just gonna, whoops, great, hop to YouTube to make sure that I was showing up there, which is good. This is the first time I've used StreamYard. Okay. In summer, with tech, we tend to go one direction or the other. We either think like, this is it, I'm going to have a screen-free summer, we're going to detox, there are going to be no screens, we're going to do all this wonderful, creative, fabulous kinds of things, activities, trips, etc., etc. Takes a lot of parental energy, a lot of parental focus, drive, and vision. Or we throw our hands up in the air and we go, nope, forget this. We're whatever. Just we're gonna do whatever you want to do on your screens. That's fine. It's summer. They need a break from school. They need to relax. What's the worst thing that can happen? When I was a kid, I certainly spent some summers watching TV every day. I hope most of you are somewhere in between. Most of you recognize that screens are a part of life. They're a part of fun and enjoyment, part of that relaxed summer energy, maybe not having to shut a kid down with their game quite so quickly because you're not trying to transition them to homework or to getting a good night's sleep. And on the other hand, wanting to have a sense of expansiveness and create some space for other kinds of activities so that we really get a chance to engage with the whole child this summer. Okay. The first thing I want to think about is the idea that you do not have to entertain your child 24/7 in order for the summer to be meaningful. I saw a post on Facebook or Eventbrite or Nextdoor or one of these things, must have been, maybe it was Nextdoor, and a parent was going like, help, I'm having a play date with a couple of 4-year-olds. I want to do an under the sea theme and I don't know what to do. Please don't feel that you need to produce the perfect play date for your kids. Please trust that given some space and some availability to materials, maybe, right? You have the art bin, you've got the pens and the paper and things kind of accessible for kids. That's enough. And in fact, it's even a really good thing because we want to stretch our children's boredom tolerance levels. When we have a constant feedback and constant dopamine hit, and we don't have to be bored for a moment, we never give our brains a chance to rest. We don't give our nervous system a chance to slow down. We never give ourselves a chance to just be with ourselves and to be with our thoughts. And if we aren't present with our thoughts, We are shutting down our feelings and we are unaware of our needs. And this is a really important idea, right? Part of our mental health and our children's mental health is being in touch with our feelings, allowing ourselves to feel things, using that information to help us identify what's missing. What do I need right now that has me feeling this way? Or if I'm feeling ecstatic, what is present right now? What need is being met that has me feeling so happy and like Snoopy with his running yippee yippee legs? When we allow ourselves to be bored, and in this case, I guess by bored, I really mean allow ourselves not to be stimulated by something external every moment. We soothe our nervous system. We allow space for our imagination, our creativity, our ingenuity. For example, I don't know about you, but it was when we were bored that my sister and I made the effort to make brownies and cut them up, raid the lemon bush for lemons, make lemonade, and make our lemonade stand, and to be out on the street, interacting with whoever came along and making a little extra money, making a mess in the kitchen that had to be cleaned up. I wouldn't say that that was like a driving ambition, like, oh, if we're going to make money, we're going to have a lemonade stand. This is what we've got to do. No, it was more like, we're bored. What could we do? Oh, well, we want to go to the mall, but we don't have any money. Well, what could we do to make some money? Okay, let's do this. And like, oh, here's a box. Thanks, Mom. Here's a box of brownie mix. Let's make brownies and sell those as well. So it's when we slow down and begin to feel bored and we have to look around for something to do that we get creative about what we might do. Now, your kids have likely been in summer and they have been scheduled from the moment they woke up pretty much until the moment they had to go to sleep. That means their capacity for thinking, what might I do when I'm bored? It's underdeveloped. And so you might want to support your child by writing down a list of 10, 20, 30, 40 things that they could do when they're bored. And here would be my request, that alongside more sophisticated ideas, you include things like, I wrote a list here, singing in the shower, taking a nap, laughing, ha, 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 and just playing, curling up on the couch and having that blanket on top of you and just feeling what that feels like. Going into nature and looking for things. How many different shapes of leaves can you find? Have a contest with your friend. How many birds can you see? Could you spend time with little kids? Do you have younger brothers and sisters? Do you have cousins? Are there kids on the street? If you go to the playground and you're the only person at the playground and you're bored, could you start supporting the little kids in their games? Could you go on a museum walk in your own house just by walking through the house and really looking at the pictures and the photographs that you probably take for granted because they are there all the time. Okay, so notice how some of these ideas in my list of 10, 20, 30, 40 things that you might do when you're bored are not like super sophisticated. In fact, they're the opposite. They're just kind of slow. And they don't have a product or they don't have a meaning. It's not getting you to the next step of something. Remember, I was thinking about Snoopy again. Remember Charlie Brown and that whole gang? They spent a lot of summer looking at the clouds and picking out what did they see in the clouds. That is a wonderful boredom tolerant stretching task because it gives you something to do. What are you doing? Oh, I'm looking to see what, do I see? Is that a flower or a bunny rabbit I see in the cloud? And at the same time, it's not so engaging that if your mind wanders, you don't have that expansiveness and that freedom to let your mind go to something, to think about something, to dream a little bit, maybe to replay and to reprocess something that happened during the school year. That could be super important and super valuable. Okay, so number one in creating a screen light summer is to deliberately stretch your children's boredom tolerance. My other piece of advice is that instead of creating a specific schedule like school where, 9 o'clock, you're up by 10 o'clock, you're doing your chores by 11 o'clock, you're outside playing. Think instead of creating a rhythm. And the rhythm, it could still have some, cutoff points. Like if you're not out of your pajamas yet and it's 11 a.m., please be out of your pajamas. Or if your bed hasn't been made yet, please make your bed. But it also allows some flexibility for maybe I don't pop out of bed and immediately make it and get dressed before I go have my breakfast. And maybe I don't have breakfast right away. Maybe I sit on the couch in my pajamas and I read for 45 minutes. And then I wander in and I get my breakfast. And then I go shower and change and make my bed. So a rhythm is more of an expectation. It's more, what do we want our kids to do every day, more or less? And I kind of have 5 things that I use. Take them or leave them as you think work for your family. And a lot of families structure their screen light summers by saying, when you have done these 5 things, then you can be on your screens. So what are my 5 things? One is definitely hygiene and getting dressed. I call those ablutions. 2 is family contributions, also known as chores. And summer is a fabulous time to increase our kids' autonomy and their sense of competence by giving them some more chores, training them if you need to, and then praising them for them. And they're home more, right? So they're going to appreciate the clean toilet. They're going to appreciate the fact that, their little brothers or sisters' toys aren't all over the place. So ablutions, contributions. I don't want kids doing a lot of academic work in the summer. They definitely need a break from school and the pressure of school. But kids do lose a lot of gains that they made in a school year over the summer. So the 2 areas, or maybe 3, that I'd like them to be doing, not a lot, like 10 to 30 minutes, depending on their age, some reading, some math skills, and maybe some writing. And with the writing, we want it to ideally be either pleasurable and expressive, like they want to write a poem or they want to write a short story, or to be purposeful, like they're going to correspond with their grandmother and start getting excited about what are they going to do when they visit her, right? That would be writing a letter is practice writing, but it has a purpose. Like the letter gets put in the mail and goes. And I know you can do that over text or email, but there's so much benefit from doing the brain through the hand to paper kind of work. Plus, it slows them down, right? You can do voice to text, sure. Hey, Gammy, I'm so excited about coming to your house this summer. I think we should go to the pool every afternoon, and I want to go to the pool that has the really good slide. Yeah, you could do that on a text for sure. But if you slow down and you had your kids write that to their grandmother and their grandmother wrote back, there's anticipation in getting the response. There's building patience, right? So kind of building boredom tolerance and waiting for the response. That is really healthy. Okay, so create rhythms instead of rigid schedules. Perhaps the most important way to keep from nagging this summer when it comes to being screen light. So the two things we've talked about so far, boredom tolerance and not a rigid schedule, are really about the time off of screens. But you want to talk a lot about when they're on their screens too. And you want to get your buy-in from your kids. And you want to do that by coming back and forth and having a lot of conversations. You state your desire for balance, your desire for them to be developing another part of themselves, to give their nervous system a rest, to be more in their bodies, to slow down, to be more aware of their senses, right? You explain all that to them. And then start having a conversation about what might feel reasonable to them. You may find that you have to make some compromises too, right? They may turn the mirror back at you and go like, yeah, but you're on your laptop all the time. I live at home. I work at home. I am on my laptop all the time. And I like to have the illusion that, oh, I'm available for my kids if they need me. But the fact is that I do not want to be interrupted. And so if your kids are old enough, they may actually prefer that you go off to the library or to a cafe and you sit and you work for 3 hours while they do their ablutions and their contributions and their academics. Oh, I forgot this list, didn't I? The other two things on the list could include outdoor playtime. And playtime could include, lying in the sun. Make sure you have your sunscreen on. And then the last one that I like to really build in for kids every day is physical activity. At least 30 minutes of physical activity every day, if not more. So they may like to, work on that list while you are off. You're doing something else. And then when you come back, you're closing your laptop and you are done. So in getting buy-in from our kids, we're going to give some, we're going to take some. And if you're really going heads to head on what it should be, let it go and say like, well, we don't have to solve this tonight. We'll come back to it again. And let a few days go by and come back to it. And keep reconnecting your idea to your kids of what you want them to have at the end of summer, right? Like, I don't want you to only have, reached level 10 in your game. I'd also like you to be able to say that, you had baked a beautiful loaf of bread, or you had created a fairy corner in the garden, I mean, whatever it is, but something. All right, before I wrap up here today, my last little comment, I just want to say something about divorced houses that have different screen rules. That's okay. You can still do all this buy-in, even if it's 24/7 screens at the other house. And of course, I want you to support that other parent. So just say to your kids, like, that works for your mom. That's great. That's fine. I'm sure she has reasons why that's her policy. I'm trying something different for you guys. And I believe that you're going to feel good about what you've done at this house in the end of the summer. And so let's keep working on how we're going to structure that. Let's keep talking about it. Okay, do you see how I'm making whatever happens at mom's house 100% okay? That's great. Mom has good reasons for that. And I'm trying something different. I have a different goal. And I'm your parent too. And so, you're going to get two perspectives, and that's okay. All right, my friends, if you have any thoughts or comments or questions about this topic, please feel free to write in the comments below, or you can email me at elisabeth@stitt.com. That's Elisabeth with an S, Elisabeth at stitt.com.